What on earth is that? It's a Journey into Comics Network production!
Tell me something, my friend. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? What? I always ask that of all my prey. I just like the sound of it.
Brought to you by the power of the Journey into Comics Network. This is the Journey into Comics podcast, the show that's 100% dedicated to everything nerd. With your hosts, the Podfather, Nate Phillips, the Podmaster, Brandon Stone, and the Journey into Comics Network stepdad, Tyler McLaughlin.
Time to make the chimichangas.
30 seconds.
Hey! Excellent!
Finally.
What did you do?
I went for it. And here we go.
Can somebody tell me what kind of a world we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all of my press? This town needs an enema.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Journey into Comics. Today, Journey into Comics 313. Put your motherfucking hands up and follow me. I don't know if you get that reference, probably not. But today, I am your host, Nate. Joining me once again, the other OG of JIC. Welcome back to the fold. Brando, how you doing, brother?
Doing all right, man. Not much to talk about. I mean, there is stuff to talk about, but it's been kind of light. News and stuff has been spread out. Life has kind of it's been a rough year for a lot of people. And so on that front, it's almost like when I say there's nothing to talk about, there's actually a lot to talk about when you consider the year proper. There's a lot to talk about right now in terms of current events, but that's not the kind of show we are. So on that front,
We want to keep it light and fluffy.
well, you know, because I mean, we have an entire section of the country that is on fire, and
fire tornadoes now.
Yeah.
That's fucking
did you
insane.
not? Yeah, I saw that the other day,
Whoa.
and a little whirlwind of fire. I mean, I don't know how else that this year is going to end. This year, I swear, this is what they meant by 2012. In 2012 was pretty light, dude. It was okay. I think that year was the supposed rapture. You know, we were supposed to have a rapture, and like we were kind of looking forward to it at work because that means we wouldn't have to work OT.
Yeah. We got overlooked on said rapture.
Yeah, we definitely did. And then, of course, this year it's been one thing after another. It's whether you're considering it to be big, iconic. I mean, maybe iconic's the wrong word, but standout moments. Whether you want to start that with, like, you know, the death of Kobe, his daughter, and all those other people in that really terrible helicopter crash. The spread of COVID-19 across the country and world.
Essentially the decimation of all sports and everything due to coronavirus and not being able to have large crowds, which has changed the paradigm and how wrestling and other things are done.
Not just like sports, but also live events in general, like music and everything. You know,
Correct.
I said something the other day, like you remember how, like, in the 80s and stuff like that, we had like Farm Aid and Live Aid. You know, like a lot of these bands need help, and I think we need to like try to do like a big, massive stream to donate to bands, and we'll call it Band-Aid.
I love it. Let me tell you, this will just go hand in hand with what you just said, sort of. We had wasps a few weeks ago. I think I said on the show we had a wasp problem. We had the exterminator out. And this guy, he's just like kind of normal and quiet or whatever in the first few minutes or whatever. But then he notices, because it's actually, I think I mentioned it on Rank 'Em All, actually, but I digress.
he notices my Metallica shirt. He's like, I like Metallica. Metallica's pretty cool. You know, we start talking for a minute. And then he's like, I need to show you some bands. And I was like, what? And the first band he showed me was called Bandmaid. And they're a Japanese female metal band who dress like maids. Bandmaid. Not Band-Aid, Bandmaid. And it's the musically it's pretty fucking heavy and cool and whatever. But yeah. So I agree that we do need to be helping musicians somehow, some way. As a musician myself, who, you know, we played our last official show in front of people February 20, whatever it was, 28th or something. Not the night before, or 27th. It was the night before fucking AEW Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel, and just to pull the veil back, I feel a part of me missing not being able to be out there and do that. And especially we had done it so often. There wasn't more than 1 month at a time we ever took off not doing shows on the road, traveling to God knows where, you know, and not doing that is difficult. Not having the normalcy of that is difficult, for sure.
I mean, this has affected the production of movies, television, plays, just anything where we get together to do something. I mean, work has kind of gone back to normal in a lot of sense. I mean, the office jobs, a lot of people are still working from home, and you know, e-learning has now ruined the snow day forever. Now that e-learning is a thing, snow days are now going to be a thing of the past.
I feel like our generation was fucking the dude who's running and slides under the fucking garage door right as it's closing. Like all the good shit is locked in that garage, and we slid out just or all the, you know, the normalcy of now is like, could you imagine us, our generation, no school, which was already a fucking specialty to begin with because they never called off school where we were at. I mean, it had to really be a bullshit day. And then for them to go, hey, yeah, that day you thought you had off, nope. Stare at a tablet for 6 hours. Learn with us.
Well, you know, like I didn't even get internet until like 2002. You know, so I mean, I think it was a different time. It was, now things are more widely available, and you're able to do stuff like that. Man, I remember one year we lost power. It was a really bad snowstorm, and we lost power, and we had no power all day.
Oh my God, that's the worst.
All day. I mean, luckily we had like a kerosene heater, like one of those really big ones. The kind that you're afraid to use because you're afraid it's just gonna blow up and just. They
never do though. They're super safe, but yeah, you know,
but they're massive, dude. They're like they look like R2-D2 or something, like the size of they're like they're just a big massive astro droid. And I just remember like sitting in the living room, in the like on the couch, like with a blanket on, reading a book because I had nothing. In fact, I believe I was reading the novelization of Jumanji. Or something like that. I didn't have that many books.
You got it from a book fair at school.
Something like that, yeah.
A book you never would have went out and bought on your own, but for some reason you ended up having it because it was, well, I had $20 in my pocket that day. I guess I'm going to get this awesome book. Did you ever have that happen where you know for a fact your fucking parents did not plan for you to have a book hit or like a book club thing, but for some reason you ended up with extra money that day and you're like, I know they didn't mean to do this, but this is awesome. I'm going to totally get myself a ridiculous Michael Jordan poster, 6'6". Fuck yeah. Totally did that.
I never accidentally had money when I was growing up. It was always like I either had nothing or they gave it to me for a purpose. But it was always like they would always give me money, and I would always go to those things, and it still wouldn't be enough to get. So I'd end up with like a pencil and like a slap bracelet back when those were allowed.
Yeah, you're like, oh.
But I mean, no, like there was a few times I walked away with some books. No, man, this year is just absolutely, it's a downer. But Mars is in retrograde, I guess, which means that there's a lot of change coming to a lot of
It could even get worse. Is actually the thing.
no, it's gonna get worse. But from what I understand, from the beginning of September to the beginning of November, it's like it's gonna get a lot worse. But like all that negative energy that's gonna be spurred, it's gonna be like a phoenix, and we're gonna rise anew out of it. And I'm like,
Here's fucking hoping, because I feel like there are two shirts that exist for this year. 2020, can it get any fucking worse? Also, you could say 2020, Murphy's Law, question mark. And then, of course, I thought about this, and maybe I shouldn't say this plan because I'm probably going to fatedly doom myself. So hopefully y'all can carry this on after my passing. But, like, jokingly, obviously, but, like, I feel like December 31st of this year, everybody should have a shirt delivered to them that says, I survived 2020.
oh man.
And we should all be so proud to wear that, because this year has been absolute bullshit.
I just want I feel like hearing that I feel like Hawkeye in Endgame. It's like, don't give me hope.
Yeah.
Because right now it's hard to just take any of that, man. It's every day it's something new. Every day it's another revolution. Like whether it's political, whether it's personal, even with people that we know. You know, two mutual friends of ours that are also in the podcasting game, that they both lost people very close to them.
Absolute. Well, if you're looking at it from my perspective, 3 people, because you're included in that tragedy, my friend.
Yeah.
And it really, like, not to really pull the veil too far back, I don't want to really touch on their business because it's still their business. But, like, our friends who have suffered these great losses, like, when I saw that, like, within like 5 days of each other, essentially,
Yeah.
I turned and looked at V, and I was like, I just don't know how much more of this I can take. Like, just even the bombs just keep, they're so close. It's all around, you know. And
Yes.
it's, you know, I've always said this is like, personally for me, 2001 was a really tragic year. You know, 9/11 is its own tragedy that exists in 2001. I get it, but, like, personally, I had family loss, and I had an uncle killed by a drunk driver and all this stuff. So, like, I really suffered great loss that year, and at a really tragic cost and at a young age. So I've always thought to myself, like, it will never be worse than that. And as years have gone on, and I've lost family members here and there, you suffer it. But again, I never go back to it being the same kind of trauma as then. And now I feel like the trauma is so much around me that I'm just not only reliving what I've already felt, but I can really, I feel what all of you guys are feeling in some form or fashion, not necessarily exactly. And I think, you know, we all connect in that way more than anything. Is you know, loss changes everyone, no matter if you want to admit it or not. And I'm not just talking about somebody passing away. Loss in general, losing things you enjoy or you adore or you're a part of, is hard. And this year has just been nearly insurmountable. But there have been, like, to just kind of, I'm gonna just try to shift the show a little bit and bring some we're gonna have a debate today, kind of, Brando, because I have a headline that's a headline you actually said we should talk about, but I think my opinion and your opinion might vastly vary on this. So let's just maybe make that the first juicy steak bite of this fucking show, because
Sure.
I said this, you know, one thing, the Kardashians are canceled. That's awesome news for 2020. Congratulations. You killed something I didn't like, so that's good. But 2020, also, we got the news this week, The Walking Dead is ending.
Yeah.
And within now a year, we've ended the comic and now turned on a dime and almost immediately ended the show.
Yeah.
And I said this on my post. I'm glad this is happening. Not because I didn't enjoy moments in the show, not because I wasn't a fan of the cast or all the things I said that I loved, because I did. It's the things they didn't do and some of the shifts they made to try to throw fans like me off, I guess. I don't know if that maybe was their main intention, but I'm glad this is ending because I think if you wait 5 to 10 years and take the actual fucking Walking Dead comics, which are now in stone, one moment in time, they live back there. That it's not continuing, the story isn't going further. You can plan out genuinely. We'll do 10 seasons, and this is how we're going to approach the books and do it 100% accurately or vastly accurately, or tell it with a different mindset and how you shoot it tonally. There obviously always going to be people wanting to remake and reboot things, and Walking Dead is a money-making machine. So, at least from my opinion, I think this is amazing news. Brando, what do you think? Is this a different story for you?
I wouldn't reboot it. I would do an animated series.
Yes. Oh, fuck yes. There for it. That's the way, actually. That's the way.
Because there's, okay, there are some people who have worked on live action on the show who are done with it. They wanted it. They're like, I moved on. I was happy for my time there. It was great. We were a family. But I'm now over here. The guy that played Glenn, Stephen Yeun.
Stephen Yen.
Yeah. No, he's they've asked him, like, would you be willing to come back for any sort of flashback? He said no. He goes, not that I
Glenn
don't.
doesn't need to be there though for flashback.
Well, I mean, because they were talking about bringing back like Abraham or something like. Of course, he's kind of Michael Cudlitz is kind of stuck around and he's involved behind the scenes, but like they did the episode with Rick where they had Shane and Herschel and really good stuff, and that people were like, hey, maybe Steven should have come back for that, and Steven's like, I didn't want to. It's like to me, to have to say goodbye to Glenn was hard, but it was at the right time in my life where everything else was changing. It's like I realized afterwards that the person that I was when I took the role of Glenn, I no longer was. So for me to go and try to put Glenn back on like he's an old pair of shoes, it would be not as genuine to him. So, he's kind of felt like, there you go, like I've sailed on. And that's the thing with, me and you have talked about, and we've had discussions about the ebbs and flow and like changes that they made. I'm all for them making changes because it's supposed to be not just a retelling. It's supposed to be an adaptation or a alternate universe set, whatever, like sure. A mirror, like universe A, universe B, like DC multiverse type deal. And that's okay with me. Some stuff I like, some stuff I didn't like so much. But the main issue that I feel like that the show has had is consistency. And whether you want to blame that on Gimple, what do you want to like? Because that's like that's the main place where you would put the blame is on Gimple.
Definitely slowed down when he didn't necessarily need to.
Because you had the whole season of Negan in charge, which I understand was build up for the war. I completely get that to an extent. You did have to build it up, but when Andy Lincoln was wanting to leave the show, I was thinking that he left for certain reasons. Turns out they were planning this leave since season 4. Yeah. And
weird.
Yeah, and so and that was kind of like on the DL, and like where Scott and Andy kind of had this thing where they were aiming for something, and they were thinking at the end of season 8 that would be Andy's farewell. Like they'd beat Negan and they'd move on to the story, and then of course at that point like the comics weren't where they were yet. It was just and that's the thing is that the show and the comics were both simultaneously going. So for them to make a decision on the show, that just shows you right there that the two don't necessarily go hand in hand. One is going to influence the other, maybe, but ultimately the destinations may be different, and that's okay. But Andy Lincoln was the show. He's the star. He's the main guy. He's the first name you see.
Absolutely.
And he left in the middle of season 9. When they advertised it, I boycotted the show. Them killing Carl off, I had problems with it, but I liked the way it played into the Rick and Negan storyline. It put a rock in there. a very that conversation between Rick and Negan over the radio was one of my favorite scenes of that season. When Rick tells him that Carl's dead. And you see big props to fucking
Jeffrey
Dean Morgan there, because he sold it, man. Was it us? No, he got bit. And he just stops for a second. It's like, shit, now what? I can't stop. I can't stop fighting Rick now. We're in this shit. I loved it. And
man, you kind of got me wanting to listen. I didn't finish that season.
Oh, dude,
I think I saw the death of Carl and I stopped.
Oh, Rick gets on the radio. It's like, I want Negan, right? And Negan gets on there. It's like, it's like, Carl's dead, What? I mean, but no, Rick's pissed. It's almost like reinvigorated him in a way. Like he just like, Negan was upset by it, and that's what that makes sense. It makes total sense that he would be really upset by that. If there's one thing, even though he toyed with killing Carl at one point, he didn't want to do that. Negan's a complex character like that. He's willing to do stuff he doesn't want to do. And that he still feels feelings. Even though he can be a psychotic, cut your head off dude. Dude has feelings. When he actually cares for somebody, he means it. And so I finished out that season, and it ended perfectly, like as far as I was concerned, for the way that season was built up. It ended, and I liked the way that they kept it true, and they spared Negan, because they could have killed Negan right there in the show and had it be different, but they spared him, and the fact that Rick spared him created problems with Maggie and Daryl, and it almost made it seem like they were going to go to war, but they didn't. But it created tension,
which is perfect, just like the comics.
Yes. And going into the next season, it was like a 1.5 year skip point, and they were the Hilltop. What I really liked is that there was like, again, that there was tension there, but there was still that, it doesn't have to be this way. Rick, I want to say Rick and Maggie shared a scene where Rick got to hold little Herschel or whatever, and it's like, it doesn't have to be this way, and she's like, yes it does. Essentially it's like as long as he's alive, yes it does. I boycotted season 9 until it was on Netflix, and even then I didn't watch it until it was like, I don't know if we were on Christmas break or whatever, and then I started watching it, and it was way better than I thought it was going to be. So the Carl death, I didn't like it, but I liked how it played into. I liked how it played into Carl's death played into Rick and Negan's story. That makes sense. But then Rick is leaving. I don't like that. Me personally, as a fan, it doesn't make any damn sense to me. None. But
should have left Carl alive if you knew Rick was leaving.
Yeah, that's and that's the point. It's like, that's why I thought maybe that after Chandler Riggs left, the guy that played, kid that played Carl, that Andy's like, yeah, I'm checking out. I'm gonna go home and be with my kids, And I can respect that as a dad. He put a lot of time into this, and he had to live over here. I get that, but if they were already planning for it, why did Gimple kill off Chandler Riggs, and why not let Chandler Riggs kind of carry that?
Man, it would have been dope.
Either way, that's not what we got. I really liked how Daryl and Rick had a lot of tension between each other during that short time that they had left, and how they actually got into a fight.
Like a fist fight?
Yeah.
Interesting.
because Daryl was trying to distract Rick while Maggie was going to go confront Negan.
Sure.
In the cell. And that's when we got the whole, like, on Negan's last issue where like where she confronted Negan. So we got that confrontation a little bit differently. But also because of that, it also caused Rick to get hurt, and there to be a whole horde of zombies.
Oh shit.
And the bridge that they were repairing, because the river had damaged the other bridge between Alexandria and the Kingdom, I believe, Rick destroyed it with him still on the bridge.
Whoa.
Meanwhile, Daryl was trying to save him. Maggie was trying, something happened where they're all converging, and there's Michonne, everybody, and there's Rick bleeding out because he was stabbed through the gut from rebar. That he was kicked off his horse and landed on rebar. And I'm like,
and it impaled him. Oh.
well, where do you not like that dude? That's The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
huh.
Hey, yeah.
But while Rick is bleeding out and on the horse, he keeps passing out. And that's where they have him talking with Shane, him talking with Herschel. It's like he's dying. And the last thing he does is he saves the communities, or at least Alexandria, by destroying that bridge. And
They're gonna do movie spinoffs? I'm confused.
he destroyed the bridge, and they never found his body. He got washed down the river. And do you remember? I can't remember her name now, but the trash lady.
Oh, I can see her face. Yeah, the trash lady. I know exactly who the fuck.
The
you're
helicopter
talking
that
about.
flies over. She's in contact with that helicopter. And there's a symbol on the side of it. It's like, do you have a type A or a type B? And I can't remember what she said. With her, they pick Rick up and take him.
And that's how they're gonna do the movies, is from that story of him being picked up and obviously being brought back to life again, still in the apocalypse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, because the last thing that we see from his perspective is him on the helicopter, and they're flying over, and then Jadis was their name.
Jadis. Yeah, I was gonna say Judas.
But he sees her, and she's like, "You're gonna be all right," or something like that. And then that helicopter has also been seen in Fear the Walking Dead, or that symbol. And so it's like this group that is like intermixed between the different shows. And then they're gonna, so like they are intermixing it a little bit. I can't say that I'm a huge fan of that, but I did like how, like, after that, Daryl left the hilltop and he's just been living out in the woods. He spent 6 years looking for Rick's body, looking for his corpse.
Whoa.
He blames himself.
Of course.
Just like he did with Glenn. And
Sure.
He lives out there. He has a dog. And guess what he named that dog?
Rick.
Dog.
Dog. Jesus. Mere dog.
Dog. Well, and so then after that, it's almost then they do a 6-year time skip, right? And Judith is now little. She's grown up a little bit, and she's got the fucking Carl hat, Rick hat, and she has a pretty special relationship with Negan. Michonne has now put Alexandria on lockdown as far as, like, not communicating with the other communities. There's a lot of tension there. Shit happens off camera that gets explained. Both Daryl and Michonne have, like, they've been branded or have, like, cuts in their skin. It's some fucked up shit too. What happens between them? Really, like, good stuff that you wish they would have done in the comic or something. But I thought that was a good storyline. But also, Michonne was pregnant when Rick did what he did.
Really?
And his name's RJ. It's a little boy named RJ.
Rick Jr.
Mm-hmm. And she doesn't want Judith going anywhere near Negan. Of course, she's doing her homework, talking to Negan, and Negan's helping her out with her homework. And she's like, "You're not supposed to talk to him." She goes, and she's like, "You don't know." She goes, "I know what he's done. He's told me what he's done." You know, it's like
Whoa.
the reason I talk to him is because he's the only one that'll listen to me.
Damn.
And of course, you know, Negan's like in that jail cell for 6 years.
It's a long time to sit behind the bar.
Another thing that happened was Negan gets out of jail, just like in the comics. Oops, door's open. He leaves. He doesn't stay there. He leaves. He goes back to the sanctuary. It's all dilapidated, broken down. Nobody there. Walking around. You know. He flips over a couch. He sits down. You know, he's basically King Nothing right now.
Oh, I love that reference. Great.
And
yes.
There's a walker banging on the door, and he recognizes the dude. He's like, "Hey, you're still here," you know. And he picks up a pipe and walk over there, and he's like, "Oh shit, Red." He called him Red. He had red hair. So yeah, Negan then I think he stole a motorcycle or something. He was on his way. He was driving back, and Judith went out. And she's on the road, and she shoots the bike or shoots near the bike. It causes Negan to wreck.
Damn.
Yeah. And then Negan just goes back with her. Goes back to the cell. It's good shit. It's
I'm
different.
have to watch it.
It's different shit. It is different. And you have to get past that because Jesus, they did stuff with Jesus that I liked and did not like. At first, it's like, oh, they're doing this with him. That's cool. Okay. I don't like that. And even the actor who played Jesus was like disappointed with what they ended up because he didn't end up playing like as big a role as he did in the comics.
That's dumb. Jesus was amazing in the comics.
And he
One of the
doesn't
best
even
characters.
he doesn't get anywhere close to that. And like in the show, so that's disappointing. But then they bring in Magna. They bring in Yumi, right? Is that
Yumi? Yeah.
and they bring in some other people that aren't in the comics. I don't remember them being in there. There's a girl who's deaf, and then her sister or brother, I can't remember, or friend. I want to say that they're related, but I can't remember. And like, of course, they're always talking sign language, and the deaf girl ends up with Daryl a lot. Go figure. But there's some good shit in there. You know, Maggie, when Rick leaves The Walking Dead, Maggie leaves The Walking Dead. She goes with Georgie to that community.
Oh, she's planning to go to the Commonwealth.
And so her and little Herschel are gone. Jesus takes over the Commonwealth.
Or the Hilltop?
Hilltop, I meant, yeah.
It's okay, I got you.
And then, spoiler alert, I'm just going to say it. Jesus is one of the first victims of the Whisperers.
Dumb.
Not
a fan.
And then, oh, shoot. I can't remember her name, the dark-haired girl from season 4. She was the sister of the girl that was with the governor.
Oh, Tara?
Tara. She takes over the Hilltop. After
That's
Jesus.
a cool role for her.
And then of course near the end of it was like the episode 9 or whatever of that season is the heads on the spikes, right?
Amazing.
And I like the way that they did that because it made it they kept it surprising. Not all the heads are the same as the books. In fact, probably none of them might be. But it keeps you guessing. I like the way that they did the Whisperers overall. Alpha is fucking creepy as shit. It's not the way I read her in the book.
Sure. Does it make you want to reread it so you can read her the way you saw her portrayed?
Just like Negan. Just like when I read Negan the first time, I didn't read him with you know Jeffrey Dean Morgan's cadence, but now when I do read, it is with his cadence and it just fits.
Yeah.
Beta's awesome. Beta's that big dude from Sons of Anarchy, right?
Oh, the guy that plays him. I got you. Yeah.
So he's huge. Cool stuff there. Since they killed Carl, they gave Carl's stuff to Henry, that little boy from the kingdom.
Yeah.
And
the one that Carol was taking care of or whatever,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so they kind of did that, and they did some cool stuff with there because Lydia and all that stuff is with the Whisperers. Stuff they did right is good. Stuff they did wrong, whatever. But what I will say is that coming off of, like, out of that into season 9, I wasn't expecting it to be as good. I haven't watched season 10, and I was waiting for it to come out. But
it's also not done yet, right? Because of COVID, the final episode was delayed, the finale or whatever.
It's going to air in like a month or less than a month.
Interesting.
Because they're doing a whole bunch of stuff. Because they're going to air the season finale, right, of season 10. Then they're going to air the next episode of Fear, or first episode of Fear. Then the next week, it's going to be the second episode of Fear. And then the first episode of World Beyond, which is The Walking Dead 10 years into the apocalypse.
That's set in LA or something?
Fear was set in LA.
Somewhere else?
I'm not sure where World Beyond, but World Beyond is like it follows more kids and whatnot. It's like kids in this community.
So it's like Stranger Things. The Walking Dead. Walking thing.
Something. I'm not sold on it to get cable to watch it. I'm not doing that. I'm not paying AMC to watch it. That's just kind of where I'm at. With the Walking Dead stuff. However, they did announce that they are doing 6 bonus episodes to season 10 for the Walking Dead.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's getting elongated?
Yeah. So we're getting the finale, and then we are getting 6 bonus episodes that are going to start airing hopefully next February, and that's going to be like a bridge in between 10 and 11. And then 11 is going to be 24 season or 22 episodes, too, because it's going to be 16 and then another 8. So 24. So season 11 is going to be like a season and a half, and it's going to be the wrap up, and they're just going to keep filming it in cycle, like how they normally do, like COVID permitting.
Yeah.
On one hand, I am happy it's ending because what I feel like, as I said, the show. As I did that recap, just to kind of catch you up with my mindset.
Appreciate you.
On one hand, I'm glad it's ending because it does need to end. It can't go forever. And they have these other ideas that they want to do, like World Beyond, like Fear, that can tie into it and still kind of scratch that itch if you like that stuff. They've also announced 2 new series with the cancellation of 1. One of them is Carol and Daryl. It's a series following just those 2. So whatever happens with The Walking Dead, we know if those 2 are at least getting out of it or going to continue on or whatever. And then they're going to be doing another one that is like, they're going to be doing episodes that are kind of like the Negan Lives comic, where they're going to be like one-off stories following certain characters or certain events or whatever. And that's kind of the plan. And then, of course, of the Rick movies. The Rick movies are going to tie into what I assume is going to be the end of the series. Because I've heard rumors. Okay, so it's going to be Rick and Jadis, those 2 characters. But also, another spoiler, at the end of very tail end of season 9, Michonne gets a clue that Rick's alive.
Oh, shit.
And she takes off.
Damn.
Leaving her kids behind.
Double damn. Jesus.
And also the end of season 9. Or, no, I'm sorry. It's not season 9. Season 10. Frick. I haven't watched it, but I know what happens. The other thing that happens is a certain Negan scene with Alpha.
I heard that was amazingly done.
Oh, yes. It was perfect, too, because of what they do in season 9 with the heads on the spikes. Who's Carol with?
At that time, Ezekiel.
In the comics, who ends up with his head on a spike?
Ezekiel.
He doesn't in 9.
Really?
It's Henry.
Ooh.
And Carol is there. And she sees it. and she falls apart. Everything that she worked for, getting herself back together,
Sure.
it's gone. She loses it all over again. And who's at the crux of it? Alpha. Who lets Negan out of his cell?
Carol. I remember you did tell me this part, how he comes back and she's like, took you long enough.
Oh, man. And he just throws her head and it rolls over at her feet. And it's like, you know, Carol tried to get her a couple different times, you know, like just run-ins or okay, not quite, you know, Carol's in trouble. No. And, you know, Carol's at that point where if I'm not going to get this bitch, I know someone who can.
For sure.
Oh, dude. And see that, and that's why, like, the show kind of does this with me. You know, even with some of the other seasons, you know, even before we get to Negan or anything like that, you know, okay, I didn't, like, season 3 kind of ends with like a, you know, with the big attack on the prison, and it's like, And then season 4, the first half of it's like, yes, we're getting the end of season 3 finally, you know, the big showdown. And then the last half of season 4, You know, it's like, well, because we had to do that, we had to move on, and then we got to Terminus, and Terminus was like, hey, and then we get to Alexandria, and it's like, you know, just, and then we get to season 6, and it's like, okay, this is kind of cool. Oh, this is kind of cool. You know, at the end, it builds up, and then season 7's all just like Negan rubbing Rick's face in his armpit, you're giving him noogies and shit, and there's some great scenes in there, but the whole show, literally the whole show, it's kind of like that when you stop and think about it. From a fan of the books, it's this. It does this a lot. Great shit, and not so great shit. Great shit, not so great shit. And part of that is just the way television works. If it was, or at least the way cable television works. Because had it gone to HBO, maybe it would be different. Maybe it would be more accurate, or more gory, or more adult, or more.
Can you get that Glenn scene any gorier? I don't know, man. Like we talked about privately via text, that's the moment that probably did, in fact, really hurt the show and turn a lot of people away because it was too much.
We'll see. And what's funny is that a lot of people hated that big Star Trek, you know, cliffhanger. I call it Star Trek because Star Trek used to do that a lot.
Oh yeah.
Part 1 would be the season finale. Part 2 would be the season premiere, and you'd have all summer to think about it. You know, Part 1, Captain Picard's a freaking Borg. What are we gonna do? He's gone.
Find out in the season premiere.
You know, and there's Riker. He's the new captain of the Enterprise. At the end of the season premiere, Picard's back, but he's got scars. You know, he's not the same. You know, and then we went all summer to find out who it was on the other end of that bat. I remember you and me sat in the same room watching the season 6 finale, and that entire monologue, that 11-minute monologue at the end of the show, was beat for beat perfect.
I think I was squealing. You might not have heard the squeals.
We both
but I
were
was
like looking at
definitely
each other
squealing.
so much, like, oh, this is fucking good. Because it was. Jeffrey Dean Morgan nailed it. And of course, they did it in a way that was safe for television as far as language goes. Because they kept the tension, they kept the attitude without the F-bombs, even though they did a version that included the F-bombs, which is awesome. And it's too bad that they couldn't have done alternate versions of every scene he ever did. You know, but that's too much. As far as an ending, I'm not too hopeful that it's going to end well, because consistency is what I've already said, and the fact that, you know, we do have Angela Kang, who's running the main show, Gimple, who's kind of running Fear and maybe the other show, and then like the Rick movies, and then you know, works with Angela. What they have to do to end this series properly is coalesce the ending of the show with the Rick movies. In my opinion, however you end the show, if it's going to line up perfectly with the Rick movies or not, there are certain characters that have to be in the Rick. Michonne has to be in the Rick movies. Negan should be in the Rick movies, or at least one of them. There needs to be one more Rick and Negan scene.
Absolutely.
Imagine, and I don't know if this is how they're going to do it. We don't know. Negan's out. Michonne's gone. Maggie's back. You know, she's coming back to the show to wrap it up. And from what I understand, the Maggie that's coming back is not the Maggie who left. She's a different person now. You know, what is she going to react with Negan being out? Is she going to want to kill him? Is she not going to want to kill him? You know, do you think Negan's going to let anything happen to Judith whatsoever?
No.
Hell no. Do you think Negan would let anything happen to Rick's other kid? No. That's not Negan. No. How crazy would it be if Rick finally makes his way back to Alexandria and there's Negan de facto in charge or somewhat. Maybe he doesn't want to be. Maybe Aaron's in charge, but Negan's just the kind of guy that's there. And the person that's kept Judith and Rick's son safe has been Negan.
Ooh, that's good storytelling.
And the only reason why that they're safe is because Rick spared him and gave him another chance and gave him a chance to. Yeah, no, that's a great thing. There's a scene that I saw in like a trailer for season 10 where I'm trying to remember his name now. Father Gabriel. He kind of takes a bigger get up, grab your guns and go fight kind of stance, right? Take charge.
Interesting.
Where Aaron's got to lead the thing to go and fight the Whisperers, and Gabriel wants him to take Negan, and Aaron doesn't want to. Negan doesn't want to go. He wants to go back in his cell. He's just like,
or I don't have any part of this shit,
or like go pick tomatoes or something, and it's like you need people who can fight. He can fight. Peanut butter, meat jelly. And it's like, hey man, nice arm. I mean, he didn't say that, but like I could just imagine him. Cool arm, man. But no,
that's funny.
Walking Dead ending it is good and bad, all the things in between. But it's also it's an ending of an era. 10 years, 11 years, 12 years by the time it's all done. Of something that really captured a lot of people. I mean, like they were getting like 12 million viewers, 15 million viewers on a Sunday night, going up against like sports and all other stuff.
Yeah, they were killing it, man, for a long time. And I remember it's funny because initially wasn't a fan of the show. Then I fell in love with the show, and then I became overcritical of the show. And now I'm interested in going back and rekindling my love for that show because it's ending, and because I'm like, okay, well, it's nearing closure. It's not going to be drug on for 29 fucking seasons and 68 different movie iterations and be so diluted that I couldn't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
It actually seems to have some finality coming, and that piques my interest. What you told me, I haven't seen it yet, but apparently there was a teaser that dropped, and you got to see a little, just a teaser of the Commonwealth Guards.
It was like, yeah, like someone's like, hey, that's one of the like stormtrooper looking dudes, and it's like had the white, and like, so that like that's coming, and that's, I want to say at the end of season 10 they introduced Princess, so like they're right there.
God, yes.
And so it's like they're right there, because then
like she was in the final she was in part of season 10,
at least an episode, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
I saw pictures of her.
She's one of my favorite characters in the comics as well. So that's exciting to me. Now, while you're doing that, speaking of the comics, in just a little over a month now, we're going to start getting a full re-release of The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
With The Walking Dead Deluxe. Now, The Walking Dead Deluxe is cool in a couple of reasons. 1, new covers. 2, the entire story is in color.
Yep.
Which I fucking love.
We have, and you and I and Tyler have talked about, like, because they're releasing 2 issues a month. kind of reviewing it here on the show, because we did review a lot of the issues as they came out towards the latter part. But Tyler's never read it, and he's never really watched too much of the show, and it would be kind of fresh for him, and it would be cool to go back and reread it. Now, back in the day when we did Comic Club, we actually did review the first issue of the first 6 issues, right?
The first 6, yeah, we did
the first
1 through
volume,
6.
I guess, right? So, we floated that idea around, and that's a possibility that we could throw those into the reviews. Typically we don't like to review stuff without everybody present, which is why we're not doing another review this week. But maybe for that we'll just kind of power through. If we're going to try and keep it going until they go through, whether or not we have a full cast or not, maybe we'll like, hey, we're going to review it. If you didn't, because we'd only be talking about 2 issues a month. So when a new issue would come out, we would just toss it in an episode. Hey, we're going to do a Walking Dead review here real quick. What do we think about it? And that way, if we ever miss weeks or a host, they should only have to read 1 or 2 to catch up.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Brando. Let me say, side note, just to touch on it for a second, I'm not a fan of the covers of these first 6 issues.
They're different. I don't have them ready to show everybody, so I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, you and it's okay to not. But it's interesting to note that they, much like they've done before, it's a connecting cover series.
Yeah.
So the first 6 books connect to make like the first giant picture, which is cool and fun that they do that and whatever. I like those more as a variant that you get, though, not the base book is a connectum. Because then, to me, there were some amazing classic covers. And I know, like, Tony Moore's not working on this technically, so you can't fucking do that. But, like, they could have had clever reinterpretations of those first covers, and it would have, in my opinion, been a lot more impactful.
I can see what they're doing, though, because this isn't the original run. And
I guess my hope too is that there are variants of the original covers.
That would be cool. Yeah.
So you can choose to pick them up.
I will say this: I actually do really dig all the covers put together. I think that's a really cool image.
The image put together looks cool as fuck. But it's like when you look at books, really book 2 and book 4 are really muddled.
Yeah.
Like as individual covers, there's a lot going on, and it gets muddled. It's cool in the big picture because it's not as muddled. Things are spaced out better, but in the one individual image, it's a lot. So, I mean, those are just my hot takes on it. I'm really excited that we're probably going to be doing reviews of The Walking Dead because, as you know, I'm a huge fan.
Are you going to go through the step and collect all the issues in color?
I haven't decided yet. Part of me really wants to, and I think that would be a really cool thing. They're not going to be that expensive. You just get them when they come out. You stay on top of it. It's not a big deal. My biggest issue is space.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a lot of comic space right now extra, and 193 more issues of a book I have 191 issues of, plus variants, which puts it at well over 300. I'm debating it. I definitely, my heart's like, oh God, man, because some of those books, because people are gonna know, oh fuck, issue 27, first appearance of Governor, get it, issue 33, the epic Governor showdown with Michonne, get it, excited.
Oh man, I don't know if I want to see that in Killer.
Oh God, right? I mean, but those kind of landmark moments, if they're going to be keeping everything by the book, as it were, and you're going issue for issue, people know that those are coming. Those are collectibles just to have, knowing that they might accrue value someday.
Yeah.
Much like the original series is, and did.
I think I might actually plan on getting them. Because as you said, it's not going to be crazy expensive, $3
or $4.99,
Yeah. But yeah, man. Wonder Woman 84 got delayed out of October into Christmas Day.
Now has more delays than the New Mutants. I don't know if you saw that.
Now, New Mutants. Now, see, Wonder Woman has more delays. However, in a shorter amount of time frame. I'm hoping that they
And
stick
for a reason.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, Wonder Woman got delayed due to the coronavirus. They did release Tenet. I'm talking about like Warner Brothers, and that was kind of like they're dipping their toe in the water to see how well ticket sales are going to be to recoup some of the costs, because these movies cost money to make, and that's just the sad fact of it. That when we think about and we make fun of Warner Brothers saying that they see Batman v Superman as a failure for only making $1 billion. And while that is funny, because $1 billion is a lot of money to us, they just invested like more than half that just on the movie to get it made, advertising, blah blah blah, all the stuff that go into it. So they're looking at doubling their profits and then some. With Wonder Woman, it's not going to be $1 billion thing, but they want to make money. That's the business that they're in. That's what they're just trying to do. And going into the flu season in theaters, where it doesn't seem like we're going to be, pulling out of this anytime soon, I get it. And you could argue to say, oh, just release it on HBO Max, or just do this, do like what Disney did with Mulan, or just put it up on Vudu. And they could do that, to recoup some of those costs. But unfortunately, whether you want to say Disney or like what Bill and Ted Voodoo or anything like that, there's no real right answer for how much money. I mean, either way, you're going to be losing money. And
I think that as a company, and not to cut you off, but I want to touch on this really quickly. These companies that are right now dealing with coronavirus, here's one thing that they're not talking about. Oh yeah, it takes money to make money or whatever, and it takes money to make these movies. They have fuck tons of money still just sitting and accruing, and it's more than everybody in this nation combined that's a regular ass Joe. So here's my thought. You put your fucking Wonder Woman out on HBO Max. You say, here's the deal. You can click this button. One time we'll charge you $10. Okay, HBO Max has got fuck tons of subscribers. Everybody gets it, right? We all survive coronavirus. And then guess what you can do? You can have a summer where literally in the weeks and months where there's not a lot going on, hey, guess what? It's a 2020 throwback, baby. We're going to throw out Wonder Woman 84. You can see it in theaters for the first time ever, in IMAX. Oh, we're going to fucking show Tenet. I mean, obviously it's out, but you get kind of what I'm saying. Black Widow, the same kind of thing. Mulan.
Well, there's going to be a period where there's going to be a downtrodden period where there's not going to be a lot due to production,
Exactly. So pump those movies out then if we are safe and can go to the theaters. That's when you do it, because then people are going to be like, oh, yes, of course. I already spent my $10, so I have it digitally. I'm going to go spend $5 because they'll make it a deal because they want people to come back to the theater. So I'll spend my $5
and they'll get to make more money off of it. Yeah.
And they'll get exactly. And then, hey, sure, I'm here. Might as well get a couple snackies, fill my belly, nom, 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 do it. And then, hey, Wonder Woman 84 was so good. I bought it on the digital thing. I saw it in theaters. I need to own this fucking physical copy. So if I ever have no internet, I can still watch this shit. And that's how you hook fans, because you treated them nicely and they then want to give their money back to you as a customer. Not, hey, we know you really want to see this movie, $45, fuck you. And you're just like, come on, man. I know they didn't say that, but I'm just saying they could. They could say that,
man, buy the movie. Well, I mean, was it last week we talked about Mulan costing $30? Yeah. No, thank you.
And I mean, I get premium access. That's cool. Hey, come over to my house and fucking watch Milan when nobody else can. Yeah, okay, I get it. You're rich, but you're also stupid because you wasted $30 when in 3 months it's going to be on the same platform for goose eggs, man. That's just bad. That's just doing it at 30%, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I did finish Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted was good. I liked it.
Yes.
It's kind of crazy because I read an interview with Alex Winters saying that the movie was written 10 years ago. The original.
What?
Yeah. Like they've been trying to get the movie made for like 10 years. It's just money, scheduling, all that kind of stuff. Keanu's busy.
Wow.
With
yeah.
And
They had 3 John Wicks.
yeah, but it was just a matter of just the movie was kind of in hell for a little while because the movie was produced. I want to say like Alex Winters did help produce it this time around, and so
Sweet.
because he's not a big actor anymore. He's kind of more behind the scenes, writer and director, producer. He's done like documentaries and whatnot, but I thought it was very convenient, and so did he. He goes, no one wants to put their movie out during a pandemic. It's like that's like the worst possible thing that you can ever imagine. He goes, but with the way things are right now, in our culture, it's like it was the perfect time to release it.
Yeah, everybody needed some hope, and that movie definitely gives you hopeful feelings.
Well, it's about everybody coming together, and it's like we're so divided on multiple fronts. But it's a message that needed to be put out there, and I agree. No, the movie was pretty good. Was it as good as the other ones? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Is it equally as stupid? Yep. So therefore, it fits right in. So if anybody goes to this movie expecting it to be like super smart, no, these movies aren't super smart.
They shared this scene. It was one of the few scenes that before the movie dropped was like available to watch, and it killed me every time. Was girls, you're in hell. Yeah, and they're like, how are you? Well, we're in hell. Well, yeah, but like, how are you? Oh, we're good. Like,
Yeah.
just like that's so Bill and Ted. It was so, and that movie also in a really strange way has so much to still battle because the day that movie came out is the same day Chadwick Boseman passed, and it's almost like the news cycle they got overlooked a little bit.
Yeah.
I looked at the initial numbers and was shocked to see that. I mean, at least from what theaters what theater money was made, that Bill and Ted did not make a lot of money in theaters so far. It's not doing well. And I guess that's easy to say in the coronavirus. It's not doing well in theaters. Obviously, there's not a lot of people going. But what I'm saying is, I didn't realize they weren't going to also be reporting the in-home numbers. They're only reporting right now what's happening in theaters, and I really want to know how it did video on demand.
You know what? It makes me glad that I did buy that one, because last week I was trying to defend the reason why I bought that versus Mulan, and the easiest way that I can say it is I don't have to pay a subscription for my Vudu. I already have a digital collection, and
you got 3 movies.
Yeah. I got for like, and they're all in 4K, and I don't have to worry about do I care to have those movies in a physical format? Not really. I mean, I have the first 2 on DVD somewhere, and then that's
I have the Blu-ray collectors.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, so I'm gonna have not that I don't want to, but I'm gonna have to definitely track down Face the Music when it comes out on Blu-ray because I'm a big fan.
It was good, man. It was a good message. Man, what else is kind of going on in the world? Oh,
well, I have a lead in to the to the super news, because I wanted to quickly just to give our audience a heads up. I've been playing the fucking life out of the Avengers game, putting mad hours in, my friend, just getting it. I love this game. I really am a fan of the fact that it's pretty simplistic. Like you follow the storyline, the campaign is whatever. It's what's outside of the actual main story that makes the game viable. And it's a lot of, you say it, you play RPG type games. It's a lot of repetitive type stuff you're doing, killing hordes or capturing the hill or whatever the shit it is. But the fact that I can go in one time, play as Kamala Khan, who has an amazing, totally crazy, unique power type, and then the very next time play that same mission but as Iron Man and feel a different experience almost entirely is amazing. The one thing I kind of fucked up on, and this is why I wanted to bring it up on the show, is because I'm guessing, Brando, you probably haven't gotten the game yet.
No.
Well, if and when you do pick up this game, and if and when you do end up playing it, I do strongly suggest you slowly, mission by mission, play each mission with each character as you go, so you don't fall into this problem that I have where Kamala Khan, level 15, power level 49, she's super powerful. Thor, level 2, power 12. He's fucking dying in battle, man, and I need him, and he sucks. So I have to go through and go, okay, now I got to go back to like all the missions I've already completed and haven't thought about. Get back into that mode, play as Thor, collect all the shit, because every time you collect shit, it's exclusive to that Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting their better gear. So as you're leveling him, you've got to go through and find the better gear to give his power level. That's the one thing that's kind of hard for me. But man, is the gameplay so much fun. The possibilities are fun. I'm hopeful. I really am so hopeful that we get Ant-Man in this game as an expansion. I think he would lend so brilliantly to the mechanic. They can definitely make a second Avengers game. I would love for them to do an Age of Ultron. Honestly, having Ultron as the main villain of a game would be a lot of fun. The first villain in this game being MODOK is a cool, totally different spin on an Avengers villain. Obviously, MODOK, the, machine, what was it? Mechanized organism designed only for killing. I think I did it. It's just not who you would expect as the first Avengers villain. You could have had Loki. You could have had a lot of the staples, Thanos. You didn't. And I love that they are letting you possibly build towards that. So that's my short. I haven't obviously finished the game because I'm choosing to try to like get all the shit done that I can. But I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Big fan.
Awesome. I mean, so I've been playing MLB The Show, which is not characteristic for me at all. However, it is very much because I've been contemplating for the last 4 years. It's like I get that itch to want to do it and I never pull the trigger, you know? And what really did it was I've actually been watching the baseball season this year.
Yeah, you were saying that, man.
And so I'm kind of in it. And the game was half off on PSN. So for $30,
it's new.
Yeah, like it came out in March. Yeah, like
wow.
the new games came out in March. So like the brand new one, the brand new one was out in March, and now it's like, and it was $30. Couldn't say no to that. So I've been playing it, been having fun. It's gonna be like the new guilty pleasure game for me. It's gonna be something for me to play and just sit there and play. And where on one hand it can be casual enough to where I don't have to pay attention, but the other hand, the kids distract me enough to where I keep messing up.
You're like, God damn it, I got to pay a little more attention.
I keep striking
The
out.
Dodgers are gaining on me, man.
Oh, dude, the Dodgers are killing it this year in that game. Man. Dodgers are killing it in real life, too. But
I'm still on a loop in baseball. I don't know what the Cubs are doing, if they're even a team anymore.
Yeah, they are. They're in the top of the Central.
Oh.
So,
Surprisingly impressive.
So for Sports Hour here on the JSC Network, they're ahead by 3 games. The Cardinals are in second. They're behind 3 games. They've had a kind of a
Cardinals and Cubs always are fighting for the Central, though. You know, it comes down to what happens in next month.
Well, it's actually going to be ending this month.
Oh,
yeah, like right.
I guess
it like the last normal season game is in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, they played like a shortened season, only 60 games, and the Cardinals had to sit out for 14 days due to coronavirus, and so they've been having to play doubles and doubles and doubles. So that's kind of hurt them a little bit because you have players
wear yourselves out more.
Yeah, and so the fact that they're doing as well as they are, which I mean they've got 20 wins and 19 losses. Cubs have 27 wins, 20 losses. So
I love that it's a short season. And it's still going to be like 50-some games.
Yeah.
Because, of course, a regular MLB season is 162 games. For those of you cool cats who don't know that knowledge, I do.
That's a lot. It's a lot to watch. So, as I said, Dodgers have 32 wins, 14 losses.
Wow.
Yeah. Dodgers are killing it. Oakland is killing it.
But they're both on the AL though, right?
Yeah, White Sox are like right in the same level as those guys. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to watch a little bit to see how things kind of shake up towards the end.
So if it's 2020, here's my prediction. We've talked about it. Can't get any worse. Here's what I predict. This you heard it here first. Cubs will go to the World Series, whatever that means in this coronavirus time. The White Sox will also go to the World Series,
That'd be-
and Chicago will effectively tear itself in fucking half. And the fire that you see in California will be nothing compared to the fires of Chicago.
Dude, that'd be so cool though to have both Chicago teams, because the World Series.
Oh! I thought you were talking about Chicago.
No, not putting itself
I was
down.
like, oh my god, why would it be cool? It's terrible.
But like, well, because the World Series it's not like the Super Bowl where they have one destination. No, the World Series bounces back and forth between the two teams. So like, it would be Wrigley, and then whatever the hell the White Sox is.
Guaranteed rates field. It's Comiskey Park, but guaranteed rates field.
But like, they would go back, like north side, south side, north side, and oh man, of course. It would be 2020, because that would be so cool and awesome to watch with the fans.
And you can't have it.
And you can't have any fans.
Oh, man. And that's why Chicago would tear itself the fuck apart. Like, it's coming. Murphy's Law, it's coming, bro.
Oh, man. The show has been fun to play. I've been wanting to play them the last couple years. Finally bit the bullet, finally did it. So I really haven't been playing a lot of much. I need to go back and finish Ghost of Tsushima and get that. Marvel Avengers just really wasn't on my radar. It was when they first announced it, and the more I saw of it, the more I wasn't sure if it was exactly what I wanted. Because the way that you suggested to play it's not how I would want to play it. It just kind of the repetition and stuff like that. Like, it'd be cool to play as different characters, but to make sure that all the people were where I needed them to be would kind of get old. I do kind of want to get the Mafia 1 remake.
You said that. I remember you said that.
I do want to try and pick that up. Cyberpunk is around the corner. We just got the Xbox leak, which is supposed to be revealed next week, but I guess it's not anymore. Where we now have price points and release dates for Xbox Series X and Series S. And
there's supposedly a Series V that's in between those two.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I'm not sold on that one yet. But PlayStation just announced yesterday that they're doing a Wednesday event for PS5. So I guess we're gonna find out stuff there. I was gonna record today for Game Addicts to talk about the Xbox stuff and the rumor of a new Switch. However, I'm just gonna wait till after Wednesday now, because I might as well just bundle all that stuff together.
New console news.
Yeah. Well, finally. I mean, it's just been waiting. And it was like, who's going to budge first, man? It's like a console Cold War.
Well, and I saw that Xbox has said that they're going to be selling that at a loss.
Yeah.
Which you had expected was coming.
Yep.
Now that means how much loss is Sony willing to put up with to sell more units?
Well, I kind of feel like that now that Microsoft has announced 300 for the S, 500 for the X, that Sony's going to have to at least match those prices. Maybe they can get away with it for doing 400 and 500, because the digital version of the PS5 is offering the full 4K. It's the same specs as the main console, just no disk drive. So whereas the S, they're touting a bunch of stuff. Oh, we're faster than the PS5. Nah, not really. We're aiming for that 1440p at, and it's like, okay, so you're not getting 4K out of that. They're upscaled 4K. So on that level, you can justify being cheaper. PS5, you're putting the exact same specs into the machine, so it doesn't make sense for you to price it at 300 necessarily, other than just on the base front, people are going to be like, oh, this is cheaper, this is going to be better.
Well, I mean, I guess what you could, I mean, if I'm Sony, you release the digital version at $299 that matches the S, and then do the disc drive version at $399 or $350, whatever you're comfortable with, and it will outsell the Xbox. I'm telling you, because it'll be just cheaper, and people will go, well, the specs are just a little bit better. It's just a little bit cheaper. Maybe the titles aren't necessarily as great. The backwards compatibility issue's not the same, as we're diving into this. But the one thing that really got me jazzed, and I know that this has always been a thing, and maybe some people don't, but anytime there's a new console, You can go into your local GameStop for the most part, and you walk up to the counter and you say, hey, I saw today or a week ago that they just announced this new console and you guys are going to be able to sell them. Do you have it available for pre-order? And they say, yeah, we do. And you say, cool, how much to put down to start my pre-order? And you can put $50. That's the minimum for a system usually.
Yeah.
And then you pay it off like a game at your own leisure whenever you can. You know, I saw this big headline like GameStop offering quote unquote layaway. And I'm like, no, you're just saying the shit that is already there. You're just rewording it for people to make it them think it's something new. But it's good because it allows people now more than ever who are struggling, and especially in this coronavirus time, they can save up their pennies, put their money down, get their system, and still have a nice Christmas and not break the bank doing it. And that's what is going to be, to me, the most important move in all of this.
Yeah. So the Xbox is going to have memory cards. Do you know this?
No. What?
Okay. So both consoles have a baked-in SSD. That's going to help with load times and how quickly you switch games and everything.
Sure.
And it's supposed to help increase response time between the game and the console and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So there's no way to expand that. You can't just plug in a hard drive on these new consoles and play your games from it. Now, on the Xbox, you'll be able to do that with your Xbox One games, 360 or OG games, OG Xbox. You can do all that from an external hard drive, but the hard drive space on the console proper has to be, you need that to run the new games. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do that. So for Xbox, to be able to expand those, you have to get proprietary Xbox terabyte memory cards. The rumor is they're costing $219 a piece.
Fuck out of here. Nope. Hey, if you need me for a guest on Game Addicts after all this news drops, I'm more than willing to join in and dive further deep into this. But I think that is fucking asinine. I think that Microsoft and their money grubbing fucking cunt hands need to lay off, because that's what this is. They're just money grubbing at this point.
Well, okay. So that mistake though is a classic Sony mistake. But number one, what Xbox is doing is that they've lowered the price of the entry point to get in to $300. If you don't want to pay the $500, then you can get the $300, no disc drive, but you're in. You can play the next gen games. However, if you need more hard drive space, well, now here we are, and
got you by the balls, baby.
Yeah, so what we had an issue with Sony a lot is the idea of when they released the PSP or the PS Vita, instead of doing a SD card, which is
common
much cheaper,
SD card, yeah,
they would make proprietary Sony memory cards that cost out the ass.
Well, I know I have one.
Well, see, and then the cool thing is that right now, if you get into the PSP now, you can get SD converter memory card Pro Stick Duos. You can get a 32 gigabyte mini SD card, put it into a converter Pro Stick Duo, plug it into your PSP, and you have all the space you'll ever need.
Wow.
Yeah, and you can get those for under $20.
Whoa. Nice.
I haven't found one yet for the Vita. I think there's one out there because the Vita ones are small anyway. But
yeah, they are.
I assume hopefully one will be out eventually because that's just ridiculous.
It's a system that I loved, the Vita, but didn't give it a lot of love. I think we've only got 4 games for that system because there wasn't a lot of crazy good shit, in my opinion, that came out, or things that captivated me. Oh my God, I have to have that.
The Vita is a awesome system that is hard to get games for on a physical platform. Just even used, man. You go to a used game shop and you're only going to have a couple. I think my physical collection of Vita games probably only has 8. I want to say it's under 10.
Yeah, it's I understand.
But I mean, I got some. It's a great RPG. If you could find those.
It's an 8. That's no. I'll say
I knew what you were going with. No. we are segueing into the final topic of the show, And you said, "Do you know what is an 8?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I haven't
No,
measured
was-
it myself."
Hold on. No, let me word that correctly. I was going to say, do you know what isn't a 10, but could possibly be an 8? Is America's dick.
Yep, that's where we're
it
going.
couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
I know, I know. Hopefully he's
it's
taking
not-
it in stride, man.
Here's the thing. He's the kind of guy, and all the behind the scenes stuff I've seen and everything, he's funny and laughs things off and is easy breezy and doesn't care. Or I shouldn't say doesn't care, but he's really, he rolls with the punches. And I don't know how long the picture was on Twitter. I don't know how many times women have copied that picture and it's on all kinds of sites now. I don't quote me, but what I do know is that he probably was like, "Oh fuck, take it off." Okay, whatever. Now my dick is out there. But
Okay,
hey,
then my dick is out there.
he is. You saw old man Cap's dick, is all I'm saying. He's not still in the thick of it. This isn't happening at the height of it. Not what I meant. Oh God.
Episode title in the thick of it.
There you go. But it's not like Endgame is about to come out and his. So hey, now look. Let's just be real. If we're collecting Infinity Stones, all we've got left is to see Ruffalo, RDJ, let's see, Hemsworth, and Hawkeye, because ScarJo's tits were on the internet like 5 years before she was Black Widow.
Sure.
When she was dating Ryan Reynolds and those pictures got leaked in. Ryan Reynolds' dick, I think, has been on the internet. It's just, how you handle it, I guess. That's. I didn't mean to. But that's too good. How you literally handle it.
Oh man.
Wow.
No, I feel bad for that kind of stuff because it happens. It happens to. I mean, the thing is that privacy is important to people. It's important to me. If I were on that level, I wouldn't want something like that happen to me. I would be so red in the face. But it's like once it happens, it's happened.
I think it would only affect me. Okay, let me just say this, because if you're at a certain level of celebrity, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're at Evan's celebrity level, right? And your dick gets on the internet, and then you take it down, and then it lives in infamy or whatever. Try not to laugh saying that. But to me, I think it would only just affect me to the people that I know who were never gonna see my dick, who now I have to in my head go, have you seen my dick, or have you not? Like, or then okay, like example, the next time the Avengers meet up, is ScarJo gonna be like, bro, you're packing heat, I'm about to dump Jost, let's talk. Like, why did I not realize this when we were filming fucking Civil War? You could have fucking split me down the middle. You know what I'm saying? But that would be where I would be embarrassed, is the people that I know.
Yeah.
Having those interactions would be hard. Not the fucking general internet, nobody schmo buddies that don't matter. I will say it's one day though. One day he might be at like an autograph signing and some lady might slip him a dick pic of himself and just
Want him to
ask
sign
him
it?
to sign it. Will you sign this? He looks down. He's like, what? No, I'm not signing that. Give me a picture, regular picture. Here you go. Captain America. There you go. Not signing my Johnson.
Dude, this kind of stuff, I guess it is all about how you handle it. I don't think he said anything. I mean, I haven't looked up to see if he said anything, but yeah, it's happened. You can't erase it. It's out there. It was trending on Twitter. I saw it trending at Chris Evans. Every couple months, I see Chris Evans trending, like Chris Evans' over party, and they've tried to like cancel Chris Evans over and over and over again, and it hasn't really ever stuck. And so I thought, oh, it's another one of those things. And at first, it was just like, it's like, oh, like, oh man, I feel bad for Chris Evans sharing that. But see, by the time I came around, people were already editing out the picture that was on there because it was his camera roll. Like, I don't know if he was live sharing his phone or whatever, and replacing that photo with other things like themselves or whatever. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm in this gig, you know, and making a joke out of it. So I'm like, what did he share? And then I saw it.
So he didn't share just a single image of his dick. It was like a picture of a bunch of pictures.
Yeah. And then it was like, boom. You can't miss it. It's like Mjolnir's handled.
He's the biggest Avenger in the news this week, next to Thor, who is the second biggest Avenger.
Well, we don't know that. We don't know that for certain.
Why not?
Because we haven't seen Hemsworth. So if we're
no.
He's the
I'm not
biggest
talking about what he's packing. I'm just talking about in the news because we learned that Thor is going to be staying in the MCU. So he is in the news cycle.
But
MCU news.
Now that we've seen Hemsworth. Or I'm sorry. Now that we've seen Evans, like,
is it a battle of the Chris's?
Will we ever find out if Hemsworth is really worthy?
Oh my!
Oh my, indeed.
That poses a whole other question because if he's not worthy, does that mean he can't carry his own dick? How does that work? You know, it's
suddenly that hammer feels a lot heavier.
Honey, come in here. You are the worthy one, not I.
Oh, of course you are. Yes, yes, of course you are, worthy. Yes, you. See, you copied my pubic hair.
Oh, I wanted to mention that. Oh. Ew. You should tweet that. That's pretty fucking funny. I will say, side note, I was playing Avengers game the other day, and I was playing as Thor while I was listening to Metallica. And I get that they did the whole Led Zeppelin thing, but they really need to have an Avengers and or Thor moment with him and Metallica because it was fucking cool. I was jamming.
Cool.
I was having a good time. I was like, this just goes together. It's like peanut butter, meat, jelly.
Yeah.
Together. But I don't know, man. I don't know if there's much else to talk about, really.
No. I know. I got nothing, man. In fact, when we first came up, sat down with the episode, the only thing I had was the Evans thing. I'm like, there's not much else. Like, oh wait, there's other news. We can't just have the Evans thing to talk about. That'd be 1.5 hours of us just talking about Evans' dick, and that'd just be weird.
You're like, yes, we have talked about 1.5 hours of Evans' cock.
Of Evans.
Oh shit. Anyways, was there anything else we want to dive into before we get out of here this week then, bro?
Buddy, I don't have much, but what I will say is that me, you, and Tyler, we're going to be seeing each other hopefully next week for a little thing at Tyler's. I'm not sure how we're going to record next week. If we figured that out or anything, we haven't really discussed it.
We haven't, but we'll figure it out.
And we need to figure out what is the next series that we're going to review. So...
yeah, there's a lot of series that have been talked about, tossed about, discussed. I'm up really for anything. I feel like, though, honestly, I really am the one who said that for 300 we should do Kraven's Last Hunt. That was my pick.
Okay.
Tyler picked Ghost Rider.
Okay.
I believe you were up, bro.
All right.
I mean, we'll confer with TY, but I think the pick would go to you,
Alrighty then. Well, I'll get to looking to see if there's anything for certain that I really want to dive into.
Fucking awesome. All right, folks. Well, this has been Journey into Comics. As always, you know where to find us, journeyintocomics.com. Get us on all the different podcasting platforms, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Podbean, CastBox, iHeartRadio, many others. You know where to search. Just search for Journey into Comics Network. Get our amazing feed. Also, make sure to search for Game Addicts Podcast. Get their feed. Subscribe to get all that amazing video game news. And I think that is going to do it for this week. Oh, you know what? I always fuck this up and forget, Brando, but we've been like fucking 13 and change some odd episodes, and we haven't said this. Hey, if you're watching on Facebook Live, thank you so much for checking out the show early on Sunday. We really appreciate you. If you're not checking out the show, join us on Facebook Live every Sunday, 5 p.m. We do release this episode before it drops on Monday or 6, whenever it is.
Yeah,
Brando, I'm
6
not sure.
Eastern, 5 Central.
Thank you. He had the time. I was just riffing on it, but I just wanted to make sure to say it this week because I haven't been. We love you guys on Facebook. We're appreciating you checking us out.
Absolutely.
I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of Journey into Comics. This has been Journey into Comics 313, in the thick of it, right? The thick of it?
Yep, in the thick of it.
That was it. I've been Nate.
I've been Brando.
As always, pop your caps back and fill your brains with shit. Later, guys.